Instant match reaction, Aston Villa 0, Everton 0 at Villa Park. Such a frustrating performance, such a frustrating result. And look, Everton just weren't good enough whatsoever tonight. You can clearly tell that we played 3 or 4 days ago. And, you know, the worrying thing is that we play in 2 or 3 days again. It was slow, it was lethargic, it was lackadaisical. There was just no real quality whatsoever other than the back line, who I thought done a solid job. And Jordan Pickford, he didn't really have much to do. The midfield was atrocious all game, absolutely atrocious. And the forward line didn't have that quality in the final third. And for as much as Dominic Calvert-Lewin tried, and for as much as Richarlison ran around, at this point in the season, you don't get anything for trying, you don't get anything for running around. You get points for that little bit of quality and that little bit of magic that wins your games of football, and we just didn't have that today. And to be honest with you, I think we could have played until tomorrow. I think we could still be playing on Saturday, Sunday, and we won't have scored in that game because we just had nothing really, did we? I mean, we created a lot. We were much the better team in the second half, but you always sort of knew we didn't have that cutting edge about us. We didn't have that little bit of quality. I mean, Andre Gomes comes on and has 2 golden chances, and for me, just solidifies why Andre Gomes shouldn't be coming on for Everton Football Club. I mean, the first one's ridiculous. He's got Richarlison. He does well to turn it back in on himself. He's got Richarlison in the box, and he lashes it into my backyard. And the second one, again, he's got to be doing a lot better with that. Richarlison does all the work, and it's a tame shot. It was always going to be blocked. But yeah, again, just a clear show of a lack of quality, a lack of energy. Alan was ran ragged for the entire game, and I'm not surprised, to be honest with you. Alan put in a 10 out of 10 world-class performance against West Ham on Sunday, and he turns up 3 days later and he's getting ran riot, and it's no surprise really. He clearly isn't fit enough to play 2 games in 3 days, in 4 days, whatever it is. He's clearly not up to that, and neither was anybody else, to be honest with you. I think Carlo got the formation wrong, to be honest, from the start. I think playing Seamus Coleman as a right midfielder and Gylfi Sigurdsson as a left midfielder was dreadful. The team was right. I was happy with the team, other than Tom Davies being dropped, which we'll talk about in a moment. But the formation, I wasn't happy with whatsoever. It should have absolutely been a back 5 with Seamus Coleman and Luca Dean providing the width, because as soon as you put Gylfi Sigurdsson on one of the wings, you instantly, before a ball's even being kicked, lose any sort of width whatsoever in the team. But like I said, it wasn't just Gylfi Sigurdsson. I don't think anybody, other than the defenders, I don't think anybody really played well tonight. And it's frustrating, it's disappointing, because we really, really needed to win that one. I'm not going to hide my thoughts. I said before the game we need 9 points, 9 out of 9, and we weren't awful tonight. It wasn't awful to the point where Aston Villa played round us and were excellent and just absolutely battered us off the park like it was 2 weeks ago. It wasn't that type of game whatsoever. Aston Villa didn't have much either. I mean, Sky Sports were crying Aston Villa to win that game for the entire 90 minutes, by the way. They were crying for Jack Grealish to come on, and so was Martin Atkinson, to be honest. I mean, somebody get a hold of Martin Atkinson after the game and ask him if he's got a £10 bet on Aston Villa, because he blatantly did. How Tyrone Mings stays on the pitch is ridiculous, and to be perfectly honest with you, I'm getting to the point where I'm done with football now, because that is nothing other than corruption. I'm not having it any other way. That is nothing other than pure bias and pure corruption. There's not a chance that somebody's looked at that challenge and gone, that's not a red card. His foot is about 5 foot in the air. He's nowhere near the ball, and he's got his studs up, and he makes contact with Dominic Calvert-Lewin. It's a red card every single day of the week. The only reason it's not a red card is if you've got a reason to not give it as a red card, and maybe that reason's because whoever was in the control room or on the pitch at that time wanted Aston Villa to get the 3 points. We know Sky Sports wanted Aston Villa to get the 3 points. It was all he's talked about all game. Jack Grealish is going to come on, he's going to score the winner, he's this, he's that, he's that. Don't get me wrong, I'm not blaming anybody else. Everton were dreadful today. Everton were absolutely atrocious. We just lacked that quality in the final third, and this is my big worry when we're talking about Europe. And I'm not going to sit here and say Europe's out the window now, because if we go and we win next week against Sheffield United, which we should do, and Spurs drop points and Liverpool lose tonight and West Ham drop points, then we'll all be sitting here saying Europe's back on, we're back in the fight. So I'm not going to sit here and say Europe's done, it's completely out the window, because realistically 7 points should do us, which would obviously mean we've got to go and beat Sheffield United and Wolves, which we should do. I wanted 9 out of 3 games. We're not going to get 9 out of 3 games now. Obviously, we've still got City on the last game of the season, which we can't write off. But the more frustrating thing is, rather than talking about how we're not going to get Europe, rather than talking about how it's another game thrown that we needed to win, let's look at the quality of the squad. is this squad good enough to play in Europe next season? Because I look at that squad, and I think this was actually a little bit of a test today. To be honest with you, it was a test to see how we could play on a Sunday afternoon and a Thursday afternoon, which is exactly what we'll be doing if we're playing in the Europa League next season, or if we're playing in the Conference League or whatever. We'll be playing on a Sunday and we'll be playing on a Thursday. We were brilliant on Sunday. We were very good. We had the sharpness about us. We had the quality. We defended in numbers. The energy was there. The intensity was there. And yet we fast forward to Thursday, which we can all sit here and talk about it being a shocking schedule and a shocking, shocking arrangement by the Premier League and all that, and it is. But this is what it'll be if we're playing in Europe. And we turn up on the Thursday and we've got no energy, we've got no intensity. Don't get me wrong, we had we had much better opportunities than Aston Villa did. It could have been 2-3, 4-0. You know, if Andre Gomez is a half decent footballer, he buries it, one of his 2 chances. Ben Godfrey has one at the back post, which is unlucky. Dominic Calvert-Lewin had a header towards the end of the game. Abdoulaye Doucouré has one where he decides to not shoot when he's got yards of space in front of him on the edge of the box. But it showed to me today that this squad currently hasn't got enough energy to play in Europe. It hasn't got enough quality to play in Europe, and it hasn't got enough consistency to play in Europe. If we'd have won that game, we'd probably all be sitting here going, do you know what? We created a lot there, and we took one of the chances, and that's all you need, because we stopped Aston Villa from creating anything. And defensively, we were very solid. I thought Mason Holgate, other than the odd couple of bad passes, he had a relatively decent game at right back. I thought the 2 centre-backs, Ben Godfrey and Michael Keane, were very good. I thought Luca Dean defensively done a decent job going forward. Yeah, a bit poor, but for me, I think the blame goes on, again, I've seen a lot of people on Twitter saying these players don't want Europe, they don't want it. I just don't think they had enough today. I just don't. At what point are we going to start moving away from these players don't want Europe to just saying maybe they're just not good enough to play twice in 1 week at that high level that we need them to play at? Maybe there's just not enough quality in this team. Maybe, just maybe, we've got fuck all mobility in the midfield. Even with Doucouré coming in today, did he make much of a difference? Arguably, and I know hindsight's a wonderful thing, but sitting here now, I'd have had Tom Davies starting and Doucouré off the bench to come on with 20 minutes to go and provide that bit of energy. I think Carlo has to take some of the blame. I do. I think setting up with a 4 in midfield, a 4-4-2 formation is a nonsense when you've got no wingers. Seamus Coleman had a shocking game. He wasn't the only one, but he was absolutely dreadful. Gylfi Sigurdsson had a dreadful game. It's not a winger. Another shocking game. It should have always been that 5 at the back with your wide support coming from Dean and Coleman, and then obviously having your midfield is very compact. And I didn't agree with the decision to drop Tom Davies. But what's more baffling for me, and what I've got more of an issue with Carlo Ancelotti today is something that probably a lot of people are going to say, and an issue that a lot of people have had throughout the course of this season, is the substitutions. I was happy with the starting 11 today. I was happy with Abdoulaye Doucouré coming in. I was a bit disappointed that Tom Davies dropped out, but I was happy to sit back and concede, right, Doucouré comes in, he provides the energy, and Carlo wants to leave Sigurdsson in there for that little bit of quality if he's playing in the number 10. Brilliant. If you'd have said to me before the game, no, Gylfi Sigurdsson's going to be playing on the left-hand side, Seamus will be on the right, and it'll be a flat-back 4, I'd have shook my head and said, well, that's a nonsense, to be honest with you, because it's never going to work. It's never, ever going to work. It's not the selection, it's the substitutions. I tweeted out halfway through the game, get Davies on here for Sigurdsson, and somebody replied to me, well, how is that going to get us a goal? But then he brings on Gomez for Sigurdsson. And granted, Andre Gomez had 2 chances, but there's a reason Andre Gomez has only scored 1 goal in his Everton career. And that's because he's got no composure in that situation. Not forget the chance, by the way, forget the shot. Richarlison's free in the box. Richarlison plays him in. Gomez dummies it brilliantly, to be fair to him. And if he's got a little bit of... We talk about having a footballing brain. We talking about having that awareness, that just ability up here as well as down here. If Andre Gomez has got the ability up here, he looks up and he goes, there's Richarlison, I'll slide him in. Richie finishes it comfortably and we win that game. But he doesn't. He goes for the shot. No real issue with that. No issue with people shooting. Get it on target. He lashes it. It's literally probably still in the air now. The second one cuts across. Yes, he gets it on target and it's a good block, but for me, he should do better. But why isn't Tom Davies on in the place of Gylfi Sigurdsson to give us a bit more grit, to give us a bit more fight? Because Aston Villa, certainly in that second half, made mistake after mistake after mistake. The players were falling over, they were losing the ball, they were bumping into each other. Aston Villa were atrocious in that second half today. It was constant mistake after mistake. But Everton are like snails. Other teams would jump on that straight away and make them pay for the mistake. Everton will allow a player to fall on his arse. It's like that. I don't know if anybody watches Family Guy. I'm going on a rant here. I watch Family Guy all the time. It's like those Family Guy scenes where Peter Griffin falls over and just to fill a bit of time, he's just sitting there going, holding his knee for like 35 seconds of the show. Opposition midfielders and players could do that against Everton. We literally allow players to make a mistake, fall on their arse, roll over, get up, tie the laces, pull the socks up, get the ball back and go forward. Why? Why aren't we jumping on those players when they're falling over, when they're bumping into each other, when they're misplacing passes? Why aren't we straight on that and making them pay? Like they did with us 2 weeks ago when Ollie Watkins jumped on a Mason Holgate error. He didn't wait for Mason Holgate to get back up and then go, right, okay, we'll go at you now. He jumped straight on it. We just don't have that ruthlessness about us. We don't have that little bit of, magic in the final day. And this is why a player like James Rodriguez is so important. I'm not interested in his injuries. I'm not interested in the fact that, get rid of him because he's always injured. Nonsense, mate. Absolute nonsense. Because when he's on that pitch, he provides something that nobody else does. And okay, he was injured today, and you might say it's a useless point because he didn't play today. But we just need more quality in this squad. We simply haven't got enough quality. We haven't got enough players that are really, really good. And in these types of situations where you're in a difficult game, they take it by the scruff of the neck and they go out and win it. We just don't have enough of that whatsoever. Like I said, I'm not going to sit here and blame VAR. I'm not going to sit here and blame Martin Atkinson. But for me, it was quite evident that, he looked like he had his money on Aston Villa, didn't he? Let's be perfectly honest. I mean, that VAR decision is disgusting. Not only that, by the way, Tyrone Mings goes down, receives treatment and doesn't have to go off at the end of the game. Why is that? It's a sending off. There was a lot of Aston Villa fans in the comments. If you're an Aston Villa fan, by the way, well played. I like Aston Villa, decent club, and I'm not blaming you. But can any of you honestly tell me that that's not a red card? Can you make a valid point as to why that isn't a sending off? They didn't even look at it. They didn't even give it consideration. Atkinson didn't even go over. It was like straight away, yeah, it's not a red card. What's the point anymore? What's the point in VAR? Scrap VAR. Next season, scrap it. Get rid of it. Unless you're going to bring in an independent board that isn't referees of this league, that isn't referees that have clearly shown for years and years and years that they're incompetent. The reason VAR is in place is because referees are incompetent and cannot do their job properly. So what do? You bring in VAR and you allow those incompetent referees to manage it. What do you think's going to happen? It's going to make mistakes because it's the same idiots that don't understand how to do the job sitting behind the screen watching it. Scrap it or bring in an independent board who actually know what they're doing and actually understand the rules to manage it. Because until then, you're going to see situations like this, and that's a shocking decision. It's the worst VAR decision I've seen in a long, long time, put it that way. And I'm not just saying that because I'm an Everton fan. If it was the other way around, I'd be like, we've got away with one massively there. That's a shocker. But yeah, like I said, it didn't, wasn't like it was a penalty or a last man decision or whatever. It was in the middle of the park. It wouldn't have made a difference anyway. As I said, Everton could be playing till next week and still wouldn't score. But yeah, like I said, Carlo, I think he takes blame for the way in which we set up. I think he takes blame for the substitutions, bringing Gomez on, bringing Iwobi on, who done all right, to be fair, won the ball back in a couple of areas. But why isn't Tom Davies coming on, who played out of his heart the other day and was absolutely excellent? Why isn't maybe Josh King coming on? I don't know. Why aren't we bringing on somebody with a bit of pace, somebody with something to prove? I don't know. Look, it's clear to me, finishing Europe or not, this squad isn't good enough to play in Europe. This squad isn't good. Take away your Europe and your teams will be playing in Europe. This squad isn't good enough to play 2 games a week. It showed that today. It's not got enough quality. We haven't got enough energy. We haven't got enough players that can come in. Otherwise, ideally, Alan wouldn't have been playing today, because you could see in the first 25 minutes he was off the pace. Probably because he'd been absolutely world class on Sunday and he can't keep up with that. Can't do 2 games in 5 days or 4 days, whatever it is. Decore come back from injury today and was off the boil. We know Decore isn't the greatest passer of the ball anyway, but he was poor today. Yeah. So there you go. Finishing Europe. Is it still on? Probably, yeah. Because if we beat Sheffield United at the weekend, I'll come here and I'll talk about how it's still on and this, that and the other. But it's on in terms of mathematically possible. It's not on in terms of the quality of the squad. You know, we really aren't good enough to play in Europe next season. Put it that way. We're really not good enough at the moment. Yes, there'll be a summer and there'll be heavy investments, and there's got to be 5, 6, 7 players come in that can come into the first team. Not just squad players like Josh King, who obviously isn't good enough and obviously isn't impressing. You know, Carlo can come out and say what he likes in press conferences. Oh yeah, he's saying brilliantly, he's this and that, is the other. You know, we're searching for a goal in the final 20 minutes of a massively important, crucial game of our season. And instead of bringing on that player that's really good and is important and does all what it needs to do in training, you bring on a centre midfielder who scored 1 goal in 3 years and has been dreadful for weeks. Josh King clearly isn't good enough. So not players like that who are just going to come on and warm the bench. Top quality players, a winger, a right back, another winger, a fast centre midfielder, probably a backup striker. We need all of that because that team isn't good enough whatsoever. There you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you've enjoyed it, leave a like. We'll be back with the player ratings very shortly. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to check out the Football News 365 app as well. Yeah, let us know what you think in the comments. Big thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues. Cheers, everyone.